It may look like a Samsung Galaxy S4, but the Galaxy S4 Mini is different in a lot of ways. I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com. It's the full review of the Galaxy S4 Mini. Let's take a look at this phone and see how it compares to the Galaxy S3 and the flagship Galaxy S4. Maybe you like the design language of the Galaxy S4, but that 5-inch display is just a little bit too big for you. This could be an option to consider, even though it's not available, at least yet, in the United States on a carrier. This is the Samsung Galaxy S4 Mini. It joins the Galaxy S4 family, which now includes quite a few devices. The Galaxy S4, the Galaxy S4 Mini, the Galaxy S4 Zoom, the Galaxy S4 Active, and the Galaxy S4 Google Play Edition. So a lot of different choices to choose from here. This is kind of the small version, the little brother, if you will, but when I look at this device, I'm kind of troubled because when you look at the specs of this unit, it's spec'd below what you can get in something like a Galaxy S3, for example, which is available right now on all the carriers in the US as a lower cost device. So when you're looking at this, yes, it's a small device. It's smaller than the Galaxy S3. It fits in the hand perhaps a little bit better. But when you really analyze the pros and cons here, specs-wise, it makes more sense to really go with the Galaxy S3. But still, if you want that new and updated design, it could be something to consider. Before we get too far into this, I want to give special thanks to our partners at Best Buy Mobile because they give us devices kind of like the Galaxy S4 Mini for use in our One Paw Bandit giveaway game. When you walk into their store, they're going to help you get set up with a device that matters most to you and that you're looking for and that'll work best for you. It's part of their walkout working program, and they're unbiased as well, which makes them really great to work with at Best Buy Mobile. I'm going to turn on brightness here. Brightness is already turned on. We're going to set the timeout here so we can go through this video and not have to worry. But design-wise, looks very much like the Galaxy S4. Same design language with a power button on the right side, your micro USB charging port down here on the bottom. You've got a volume rocker over on the left side, 3.5mm headphone jack up top, your IR blaster for watch-on capabilities, which do come on the Galaxy S4 as well. And then you've got on the back a camera, 8-megapixel camera, 1080p HD video recording, 1,900 milliamp hour battery here. You've got 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, a 1.7 gigahertz dual-core Snapdragon 400 CPU here, and a 4.3-inch display that's a QHD display, so 540 by 960 pixels. So not HD. If you're coming from something with HD, you immediately notice it. I will tell you that. I've been working with the Optimus G Pro, been working with the Galaxy S4 and the HTC One. There's a marked difference in the overall look and feel of the display. If that's something that bothers you, you're going to notice the pixels right out of the box with the Galaxy S4 Mini. Now, this is an unlocked device. You can pick it up right now if you want to through specialty retailers like Negri Electronics, for example, at negrielectronics.com, but it's an unlocked device. There are no carrier installed applications here. All you get are some of the Sprint applications, the Samsung applications, too many companies with S's, and then of course the Google applications as well. You get a customized version of Flipboard, which is optimized for Samsung, and then you get the Google stuff here, Google Plus Messenger, and then all the Samsung stuff, S Memo, S Planner, which is the international name for the calendar, S Translator, S Voice, Samsung App, Samsung Hub, Samsung Link, Video, which is a customized icon and application, and then Watch On as well, which we'll dive into in just a second. Now you may be looking at this and saying, what specs? We know that it's underscored I should say, by the Galaxy S4, but in terms of software, how does it differ? Well, it does differ in a couple of key ways here. For example, we'll take a look at the menu. It is running Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean with TouchWiz, and overall the device is pretty fast despite only having a dual-core processor and 1.5 gigabytes of RAM. You'll notice little things on the international version versus the US versions. For example, instead of saying on and off, it has a circle and a line for on and off. So you get your typical network connections, your connect and share, and it's all separated by the tabs that we've seen on previous versions, My Device Accounts and more. Where you see some differences here, driving mode, which was actually just pushed out today to the Galaxy S4, but this on the Galaxy S4 Mini is a line item in the settings. So you get that. You get safety assistance as well, and all the typical stuff like blocking mode, power saving mode. But down here you'll notice smart screen and motions and gestures. So on smart screen you obviously get smart stay. So you can see that there and you can check it as you see fit. And then going back, you can see motions and gestures as well. So you get those, and those are on the Galaxy S4, so no real surprises there. What you're missing, though, is AirView. You do not get AirView options out of the box on this phone. You can see it is gone from the settings. So that's a benefit of the Galaxy S4, the Galaxy S4 Active, and some of the other devices in Samsung's pretty crowded lineup of devices. You don't get that. You also don't get, and you're going to notice this pretty quickly right away. I'm going to see if you can figure it out just by looking at the video. You get all your NFC and S-Beam stuff, but what you don't get multitasking capabilities. Through the ability to press the back button and split the screen up, you don't get that. But what you do get is some of the goodies that come with the higher end devices like Watch On, as you can see right here. And I can program this to my TV. I can select my country or region. I can type in my zip code, 75254. And did not mean to do that. Clearly I've been working with the Optimus G Pro. Notice I just hit the back button there. Tried to hit the back button, hit the menu button. So I can put in all my stuff here, for example, UVerse. And I can move through and set this up to where it works as a remote for my TV or my cable box using this IR blaster up top. So all the goodies that come with the higher end Samsung devices you do get over here as well, at least in the form of most of the software stuff. Now, messaging, you'll notice some key differences here, and you'll remember this more from the Mega review than you will from the Galaxy S4 US versions, but you'll notice in messaging here, it's black again, the background is black, and then you get Samsung's keyboard. While in the international versions, Samsung's keyboard does allow for to do personalized data and automatic replacement. So I can have that turned on and come right in here and say something like the quick brown fox. Actually, I won't do it up there, I'll do it down here. And I say W, what'll autocorrect to the. It does not do that on the US version of the keyboard, but it does do that on the international keyboard. Happy that it is, what is today? Tuesday. And you can see 4.3-inch display in action here. Portrait to landscape, all your transitions are going to be reasonably fast. The biggest challenge is coming from a 5-inch display or a 4.7-inch display. Really evaluate what you're coming from here and see if it's something you're interested in. But overall, Android 4.2 works nice and fast here. This is an international version, no LTE capabilities in the United States. So if you're using this on AT&T or T-Mobile, as you can see, you are regulated to non-LTE connectivity. So keep that in mind. HSPA Plus, as you can see running right up here, actually HSPA running right now. So a little bit slower speed. That said, if you're in a market like Dallas, you can get by pretty quickly or without any sort of issue. So you can see black background here. Again, international version. All of the US versions have switched over to the white background, as you can see by this Galaxy S4 here, for example, which I need to unplug from the charger. And we'll go ahead and take a look, and you can see what it looks like just in comparison. US versus international. We saw this on the Galaxy Mega as well. Like anything else in this space, though, the screen size is going to matter to you and matter to you alone. So if you want a 5.5-inch display, get a 5.5-inch display. If you want a 4.3-inch display, get a 4.3-inch display. Get what matters most to you. That said, I think after working with 5 inches and 4.7 inches, it becomes hard to go back to this, even though just a couple of years ago, 4.3 inches was considered the benchmark size. The reason why is because we've gotten into a lot of content creation in these days. 2013 is a crazy year for the kids. I don't mean that, I'm just giving you a hard time, but lots of content creation, browsing the web, using S Pens, checking out music videos, doing all kinds of stuff like that, and it becomes increasingly more nice, I should say increasingly nice, to have a big display. So, for example, browsing the web here, as you can see, it's decent on this, but you can really tell a difference between a 4.3-inch display and a 5-inch display. Even HD to non-HD aside, you can just tell a difference in the size. Keep it locked right here. We'll have part 2 coming up. We'll talk about the camera, talk more about the software, and we'll run those speed tests to see if this is worth getting over the Galaxy S3 or some of the other mid-range devices on the market. Stay tuned for part 2.